Yo, what's happening everybody, KingGBL here, and welcome back to a brand new episode of 12Legend. This is a series in which we take a level 1 account in Pokemon Go and try to hit Legend in the first season. In today's video, we're going to have a much more battle focused video. I've been showing you guys a lot of the account building process, as you can see on screen currently. What I'm trying to do is get candies for Golurk. During the Halloween event, there is a research task, evolve 3 Ghost type Pokemon, and that'll give you a 50-50 chance of getting either Golett or Greavard. We're trying our absolute best to get Golets here, and as you're going to see from some of this footage, we stack up 3 of them, and sometimes we get free Greavard. Doing this research to get the candy for Golurk has been extremely annoying. However, we're getting very close. We've built the Golurk. All we need to do is get some extra candy for a second move, which at this current moment in time we are getting very close to. In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing a very strong run I made in Go Battle League. I started off today at 2200 ELO, and we're finishing off over 2400. The team I'm running here is Wigglytuff with Icy Wind and Swift. We're running Drifblim on the safe swap with Astonish, Icy Wind and Shadow Ball. And finally we have Golurk in the back with single move Shadow Punch, which I found in most cases was perfectly fine for it. As you can see from the footage on screen here, we ended up getting 3 Greavards in a row. It takes me so long to stack up all of these, so it's super frustrating whenever that happens. We've built a Drifblim, we're second moving it here. Eventually I do put it on Astonish. I accidentally run into the first match using Hex, and I think I had Astonish on the Golurk. You definitely want Mud Slap on the Golurk for this meta. Guys, this team, like I said, is just absolutely cooked. It just felt like free ELO. Wigglytuff is super underrated and disrespected. A lot of dark teams and a lot of sort of double dark, EBA dark even, are just generally Pokemon that are EBA weak to Wiggly. And of course, because Wigglytuff has the subnormal typing, it's really good into Ghosts, right? So this thing's doing amazing into Ghosts, amazing into Dark type Pokemon, and if you get an energy lead with it, you're able to Icy Wind Clodsire, you're able to Icy Wind things like Drapion, right? That's not even a bad matchup for Wigglytuff. So Wigglytuff is just amazing in this meta, and having 2 Ghosts in the back that can take switch advantage against the poisons is definitely super valuable here. I'm running non-Shadow Drifblim. You could try it with Shadow, but I did like the extra bulk, where I took switch advantage in some cases where I otherwise couldn't. Anyway guys, we're gonna hop into the battles. Drop a like in the video, subscribe, I really appreciate it. Big thank you to everybody who's supporting the videos. And as you can see, the opponent built up some energy, and then they decided to swap in the Mandibuzz. They came into this matchup extremely late, meaning that I'm ahead by almost 2 Icy Winds. I'm going to shield the first move, of course, with Icy Wind. They earliest bait me, which was super annoying, honestly. We're going to go for the second Icy Wind, and the opponent decides to let it through. So I'm pretty happy with this at this point, because I can take any move. They cannot form me down from here, and I can get off the next Icy Wind. I'm going to start fighting for swap. I want to get my Slapper on them, but they just let the move go, and this is perfect for me. The opponent built up a bunch of energy. They end up throwing it here anyway, and they show that they've got Earthquake. I'm not sure why they went for Earthquake there. Ground is double resisted. They should have went for Sludge Bomb, if that's the moveset that they have. Now they're debuffed. In comes Daddy Golurk, and we're on Astonish! No! At this point, I was unaware. I thought I had the correct moveset. We take the Earthquake, it was debuffed. In comes Greninja. I make a mistake here. I should have swapped straight out into the Wigglytuff at this point. We get the shield off the opponent anyway. The opponent gets off a move, and we should be still in a pretty fine position. I know shield the first move, we still have a shield to hide behind, we charm it the whole way down, and we're going to get off an Icy Wind on the Clodsire. This will be basically good games. I should reach another Shadow Punch, hopefully, or even reach a Swift with the Wigglytuff. Can I make it to the Swift? The opponent farms me the whole way down, but we do farm it the whole way down at the exact same time. Wiggly is so much bulk, it can debuff the opponent, and it can just hang in there against things like Clodsire sometimes. In the next battle, we get a fantastic lead, and the opponent decides to stay in. Why is the opponent staying into this matchup? The opponent's showing that they're ABA weak to Charm. I come into Golurk versus the Drapion. I do end up catching the Aqua Tail. If you have half decent IVs, you can take an Aqua Tail, and you can basically farm it the whole way down. They are super spammy, so you do have to shield one, but you definitely can live one Aqua Tail. We farm it the whole way down. Even though we're down 2 shields, I get off a bunch of moves here with this. We farm this the whole way down. I tap on the Shadow Punch, and unfortunately, the Umbreon no shields it. It could have been a Dynamic Punch, they let it go. But we do have Drifblim, we have Wigglytuff, and this is absolutely game over. It's curtains for the opponent, folks. I'm going to come in here, do my due diligence with the Drifblim, get some debuffs for the opponent, and then we're basically going to commit to the Charm down, Farm down. I even go for a second Icy Wind. At this point, I'm trying to make the opponent quit the match because this is so over. They do end up going for a Last Resort or a Psychic here. Can't quite remember which one it was. It was a Psychic, and yeah, this is GG's. The opponent recognizes that. That's good games, and as you can see, we're just absolutely cooking here. We get the Morpeko in the lead. The opponent's once again staying in against the Charmer. We get 4 Charms through in the opponent, which is just massive damage. They go for Aura Wheel, we shield it, and the opponent ends up swapping out into Drifblim. So obviously they don't have a great answer to this. We're able to outpace to the Icy Wind, and at this point, I can probably look to come into my own Drifblim. This is a little bit awkward. I do end up taking the Icy Wind. I can't survive it. and we're going to try to get off an Icy Wind of our own. Because the opponent's debuffed here, and we will be applying the second debuff, I think I'll be able to outfarm them basically if they shield that move. So that's perfectly fine, the opponent lets it go, they come back into more Pekko, we commit to the farm down, we live on 1 HP, and I think the opponent decides to quit the match after that point. In comes Ivysaur. I don't think that match was necessarily over, by the way. In the next battle we have a little bit of fairy on fairy action here. They farm all the way up to the Moonblast, I decide to respect it, and we're going to look to get off an Icy Wind. We free and throw for good timing. I'm using a 3-turn move versus a 2-turn move. We throw on odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. The opponent gets to another move, I've debuffed them. I can survive a Moonblast, but that does so much damage. We farm it the whole way down, the opponent comes into Clodsire. We swap into our Drifblim, which allows us to draw out the Umbreon. That means we can debuff this Pokemon in the back, right? Get this quite decently low with the Drifblim. We can survive any one move here. And that means that Wigglytuff can come in here and basically start charming it. Basically with this team, it's an ABB team. Sometimes you stay in and force alignment, but if the opponent comes into a poison type Pokemon on the second Pokemon, you basically just swap into one of your back two, right? You have 2 answers to poison. You do not stay in with Wigglytuff against poison Pokemon in general. You try to basically draw like a dark type Pokemon out of the back with your Drifblim, and then whatever poison Pokemon is remaining can get slapped down by the big boy. The big boy's going to slap him the whole way down. The opponent can no shield this move if they want to, they're still going to get slapped down. In comes Umbreon. They're going to get slapped down too. We're not discriminating against Umbreon here, we can slap this bad boy down too. At this point it is starting to get pretty close, we do charm it the whole way down. The opponent's unable to make a move, and that's good games well played. Guys, not only do I recommend this team, I'm going to be using this team on my main account today. This is a serious team, this is an actual team. This is not a meme team. This is not, oh, this is a budget team that I can just about to get together. This team is exceptionally strong. I have showcased 2 really strong teams this week. I showcased the Double Ground team for the Great League Remix, but if you guys want to play Halloween Cup, definitely have a look at this team. This is super strong, and it just basically felt like free ELO. Even if I was getting Clodsire leads and negative leads, I was still able to do something. The opponent ends up catching that move on their own Golurk, and they just take it, which is just absolute insanity. We put our Drifblim on this. Drifblim completely walls Victory Bell. This is one of the hardest answers to this Pokemon in the game. We resist absolutely everything. In comes the Morpeko in the end, and this is curtains for them. Even though they can do super effective damage here, we still have a very healthy Wigglytuff in the back. I can take a move here. It does this a lot, even though this is debuffed, it does a lot of damage, which is pretty insane. The opponent knows it's over, concede the match, and that's good games well played. So hopping into the first set, we have a very positive time of it. We go 5-0 here, which you absolutely love to see. You absolutely love to see it. We get our own Morpeko. By the way, shout out to Niantic for making this Pokemon fairly common. For that 5-0, it gets us up to around 2300 ELO, and we get a Malamar lead. It's not going to stop right here. We're going to look to basically slap this the whole way down. Like, here's the thing with Golurk. If you have to 2-shield the swap, 2-shield the swap, because the amount of damage you can get off on anything that comes in is just ridiculous. Look how many Mud Slaps we've got, right? We can basically easily make it to 2 Shadow Punches. If the opponent wants to survive, they're going to have to shield at least one of these moves. These Mud Slaps are doing incredible damage, so even if they shield this, I'm going to get for another Mud Slap, which is going to get them extremely low. I decide to try to snipe it with the Charm, which might have been a bad idea. However, we do draw out the Fortress, and perhaps I actually needed to draw this out, because this thing does very well into Drifblim, so I think, yeah, drawing this out was probably a good idea. That means we still have a healthy Golurk, we can debuff it with the Wigglytuff, and even reach another debuff if the opponent allows me to. We can put our Golurk on this, and put our Drifblim on the other Pokemon, and we can look to basically try to take this from here. Yep, this is perfect. They actually catch on the Malamar, which is fine by me. It was a CMP catch. This is starting to get a little bit awkward now. Basically what I need to do is farm this the whole way down with Drifblim, and look to get off an Icy Wind or any sort of a move. It is game over for the opponent. They decide to concede the match, and we're going to continue here. Fantastic lead in the next one. In comes Clodsire, and you guys are going to see what I mean, bro. If you swap into this matchup quickly enough, you can shield a potential Earthquake, or a bait in this case, and basically farm it the whole way down. If they bait you, they can make it to an Earthquake. I decided to let this go. It's only a Sludge Bomb. This is perfectly fine. We farm it the whole way down. Back in comes Guzzy, and we should be on Dynamic Punch or Earth Power, right? That would do so much damage to the Guzzy. I can actually threaten the move again, which once again will threaten the one-shot. So unless they want to let this move go, and let their Guzzy go completely, they basically have to shield the move. And because it's dark in the lead, and they've had a poison in the safe swap, it's likely that's another poison. This is a very good matchup for Drifblim. We can take a Brine very comfortably here. I think 2 moves is generally enough to knock this out. I'm not sure the most optimal way to play this. I think maybe 1 Icy Wind in there could help. Maybe it allows you to live 2 Brines or something. But 2 Shadow Balls gets very close to knocking it out, to the point where you can basically charm it the whole way down. The opponent eventually swaps into Azu. If, you know, you're ever the opponent in the situation, you don't want to give Drifblim this much of an energy lead, because with this energy, we can threaten to take switch advantage, and that is not good for this opponent. They go for Ice Beam here. We can survive an Ice Beam. I decide to build all the way up, go for the Shadow Ball. Arguably, I should have went for the Icy Wind here. I was just hoping the opponent would let the move go. I just decide here, yeah, we've got the CMP tie, the opponent's dry. I'm going to commit to the farm down. It's going to cost me shields. They come into the Claude Tower. They're going to take me out. That's perfectly fine. However, Daddy Golurk is going to come in. He's going to slap him all the way down. And this is going to be looking very awkward for the opponent. This Earthquake does a lot of damage. Like I said, depending on your IVs, you may or may not be able to live that move. I decided to bank both Shadow Punches here. This turned out to be a very, very vital play in this matchup. In comes Ariados, right? They come in with the Dosmeister, and yeah, this is looking really awkward, right? But I think I should be able to make it to the Swift here, which will do decent damage to them. Thankfully, the opponent shields his move, right? They commit to the farm down. I win CMP, I'm going to go straight forward, the opponent goes for the catch. However, I've got 2 Shadow Punches banked, and because they swapped, they don't get any fast move pressure free on me. I survive on 1 HP here still. We get off 2 Shadow Punches, and we do win the match. The opponent made a very, very bad play there. But what I decided there is, instead of just, dumping one of my Shadow Punches, there may be some situation where I can get off both, and thankfully for me, I was able to get them both off there. Anyway guys, in the next one, the Malamar staying into for a superpower, so obviously they're quite weak to it in the back. They come into Toxapex, I come into Daddy Golurk. They did go for a Brine here. We can survive a Brine, it does a lot of damage. That was the first time I took one. I wasn't sure how much damage that would really do. I thought I would survive it slightly better than that, to be completely fair, but the opponent lets the move go nonetheless. We can look to tap Shadow Punch and whatever comes in. Malamar, this will take them out, and I'm pretty happy with this, I think. They let that move go. They come into Guzzlord. I make a mistake here by coming into the Drifblim. I thought, yeah, I'll get some Icy Winds off. I didn't pay the most attention. I should have just came into Wigglytuff, because basically, like, 4 charms kills this thing, bro. By the time they even make it to a Sludge Bomb, you've already knocked them out. But now, in this case, guys, they're getting a farm down. So, like, I'm making this match closer than it needs to be. Look at this. We just triple charmed it down, and that was game over. That's all I had to do. We're sort of delaying the inevitable for the opponent. However, we still get is it a 4-1 or a 5-0? I think it's a 4-1. And like I said, guys, we're still absolutely cooking. Claude's our lead in the next one. Terrible lead. We swap out. What opponents tend to do here is build up a little bit of energy and then swap. Because they don't chip me and leave, or because they give me an energy lead, I'm able to do some work here. The opponent shields up the Icy Wind, and I'm going to try to fight for switch advantage here. This is an awkward Pokemon for my entire team. I sort of need to get rid of it. Of course, my my Golurk can deal with it. The opponent calls the Icy Wind, they let the move go, and this is perfect. We've got switch advantage, we've got energy. We can look to hit the Clodsire with an Icy Wind. They come into Azu, and this is fantastic for me. I overfarm a little bit, go for the Shadow Ball. This does about 30% of the Azu. If you're using Shadow, it'll do closer to 50% probably. But at this point, they're already below 50% health. We come into Wigglytuff, start charming it. I'm not shielding any moves from Azu. The opponent should not really be giving me this energy lead. They probably should look to swap straight out here. We come into Golurk. The opponent's got an energy lead, so I just said to the opponent,
Earthquake me, daddy.
Opponent, like a silly sausage, goes for Sludge Bomb. And that is GG's, thanks for playing. I just recognized, like, that's the way they try to win this game, right? They go for the bait. Yeah, I just didn't need to shield that move, so good games to the opponent there. As you can see here, we're not getting all the great leads or anything. We're getting Clodsire leads. The opponent comes into Guzzy. This is really bad for me. This is probably, like, one of the harder ones to overcome. So we'll see what we can do about this. We threaten the Dynamic Punch. We go for the Shadow Punch here, of course. That's the only move we've got on this Pokemon. They go for a Brutal Swing, which is great. They don't necessarily want to shield a second move, so that's completely understandable. They go for the move there. Guys, normally I don't go into that swap. I normally go into Drifblim. So that was a bit of a different thing I done this match. I do recommend normally going into Drifblim as your safe swap, because it would be able to do a little bit better work against that. I decided to hold on to my Pokemon, and we, I think, both swap out here pretty much at the same time. We go for Shadow Ball. This will look to do heavy damage. Now, what I'm thinking about doing here is shielding this and trying my absolute best to somehow get out of this matchup. The switch clock is starting to creep up a little bit. I'm thinking I'm going to CMP here on the Ice Beam. You know, threaten the Shadow Ball, pretend I'm going to Shadow Ball the opponent, and somehow try to keep this Drifblim alive. We do survive an Ice Beam here, and yeah, the opponent actually ends up swapping out. Maybe I should have stayed in there. The opponent did have some energy. Maybe I should have stayed in there. However, they cannot farm me down, so we might still have a chance to win here. This is looking really, really tough though. I think the opponent just like paces me, unfortunately, so that is good games well played. You know, with this team, like, if you get a Clodsire lead with an Azu in the back, it is going to be difficult. You can't beat everything with this team, unfortunately. You're going to have your weaknesses. As you can see from the bottom ELO though, we are still doing amazingly. We're currently sitting at 20 for 87. I'm very, very happy with the progress we're having here. And hopping into the next one, low kicks lead, perfect lead. We just charm the absolute life out of this thing. In comes Clodsire, and we're going to do the same thing we've been doing. If you're able to swap out quickly enough, shield the first move, and basically commit to a farm down before they reach the next move. Or, if you have to, just shield the second move. However, the opponent does not quite make it. In comes a Drifblim of all things. I thought they would bring back in the low kicks to farm me down. I guess they don't want to take all of the energy on Drifblim, or sorry, on low kicks. However, like, they're gonna have to double shield, and we even make it to free moves here, so we just take out the Drifblim more or less. I come in here, just start charming it, and the opponent says, yeah, GG's, dude.
GG's, thanks for playing, man.
Dude, these little voice changes are so funny, bro. I hope you guys enjoy these stupid little edits that I do. It's kind of what makes me enjoy making videos in a way. They come into this is not that bad. I no shield the first move because we can live one, and they can't exactly karate chop me down. So this is good. We do land the Icy Wind, which is perfect, meaning that I can basically commit to an Astonish down. I'm going to 2-shield Astonish down if I need to. Like I said, if you need to be a little cringy and just 2-shield the swap, like you're playing with Charm, right? When you're using Charm, you basically have to get alignment. That's the only way it works, really. If you don't have alignment, it just doesn't work. Wigglytuff is one of the exceptions where it's kind of broken in the sense, where it's got the Icy Wind and it's got the coverage for all our Pokemon. This is great. We get swap. We do get the second shield back off the opponent anyway. So this works out perfectly for us. It's very hard for them to farm us down. I come into Daddy Golurk. Because the opponent's debuffed, we can take an Earth Power, and I'm anticipating the swap here. I am going to swap right out, the opponent comes in a Mandibuzz, and that's game over. With Mandibuzz, you can basically just farm it the whole way down. The opponent attempts to get off Aerialises, but as you can see, we're just so bulky. Mandibuzz is super bulky as well. They don't particularly hit hard, and yeah, this is just a perfect situation for us to be in. Let me know your feedback on today's video. We're doing a lot more battles. It was sort of always anticipated that at a certain point we would be starting to focus a lot more on battles and account building. I do have a few more things that I probably want to do in the Halloween event, but for the most part, I've built a Drifblim, I've built my Golurk for the most part, I've got my candies for a lot of different Pokemon. I've basically got everything out of the Halloween event that I can possibly get. So what I want to do this week is just hammer these battles out. I've got a strong team, it's working well. I can play my way out of bad leads. 3 very strong Pokemon, I've got a plan. This is the sort of thing that you need to do in these cups, right? This is how I've always made my big runs in Go Battle League. If you guys have been following me for a while, if you just look back at some of my videos, 200 ELO in 2 days, wow, 500 ELO in a week, etc. Wow, I hit Legend in 3 days from Veteran. The reason I'm able to do these things is because I find a team in a specific meta, I understand the ins and outs of the team, and I'm able to make a massive push with it. And of course, in these runs, you need some luck, right? If I was facing Toxapex's lead with Azu in the back every match, of course I'm not going to win. You do need the game to sort of help you out a little bit with good leads here and there. If you get a sort of higher percentage of favourable leads, that definitely goes a long way. However, it's not the be-all end-all. And like I said, the thing I really liked about this team is we were able to play our way out of certain things. You know, the meta will shift most likely, and we'll start seeing teams... unfortunately, we lost that match right there. We will start seeing teams that probably just completely RPS this team, especially if this team becomes common, right? You might start seeing teams that are like, I don't know, Toxapex in the lead, Toxapex double dark, right? Like, that would be pretty rough for this team. You just sort of have to pray if you see teams like that you come into your Drifblim, the opponent makes some sort of an error, they overfarm a little bit too much, they don't come straight into the dark type Pokemon, or the dark type Pokemon that they have. Perhaps there are Pokemon that are somewhat flippable by Drifblim. You know, you are going to get some tricky things, but I do have to say, like, with this team and the Pokemon that I've got this week, I'm really, really confident I can make a push towards Expert now. I'm going to try to do it on my main account. I'm definitely going to do it here. And yeah, like I said, we're just in a very good position now. In this matchup here, we're also in a very good position. I decided to take the first move. Brian doesn't really do a ton of damage. I can just go basically straight Icy Wind if I want to, but I go Shadow Ball here. Bang! But does very, very heavy damage to the opponent. And they just recognize, yeah, like, what am I doing here? There's nothing really left to be done here. But like I said, guys, if you did enjoy today's video, I would very, very much appreciate a like on the video. It helps out an absolute ton. Let's go for 100 likes on today's video. Like I said, drop me your comments down below. It all helps out the YouTube algorithm. And if you do want to see more of these videos, if you want to follow along with this series, where I'm taking a level 1 account to Legend, subscribe, it's absolutely free, and it's very, very much appreciated. Also, guys, if you're interested, we have a Discord community where a lot of us do streams, coaching, and share our team ideas and all that kind of stuff in Go Battle League. It's absolutely free, and feel free to check it out. Also, I do want to say a big thank you and a huge shout out to all of our channel members. I should have shown them on screen a couple of times. Massive thank you, very, very much appreciated. I'm basically done now, so I'm going to just show you guys the final battle here. It was Clodsire. We end up coming into the Drifblim, sniping it with the Icy Wind, and we're going to see exactly what ELO we finished off on. We're up to, is that 200 wins at this point? I'm looking at this through like a tiny little window. We got a 4-1 to finish off here. I think I went positive every set bar 1. I think I had 1, 2, 3. Apart from that, I had like 3 4-1s maybe, and a 5-0, and maybe a 3-2 as well. I think I do end up showing the journal. As you can see, that's all of the account stats. If you guys want to pause on that, feel free to check out my account stats for the first couple of weeks or whatever. Like I said, guys, massive day. Highly recommend this team, and thank you all very much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.